Hey guys, tonight we slip gently into the deepest forests of ancient Mesoamerica, where the air feels thick with mystery, and you can practically taste the secrets on your tongue. Sunbeams flicker through emerald leaves, landing on a trio of Aztec priests hunched over steaming clay pots as cocoa beans hiss and crackle in the heat. Imagine that wild scent of roasted chocolate swirling with wood smoke, teasing your nose. It's almost enchanting until you realize the job description here might require you to recite sacred prayers, dodge the occasional jaguar, and, oh yeah, never spill a single drop of your mystical chocolate brew. Easy, right? You probably won't survive this unless you're fond of volcanoes, obsidian knives, and horticultural drama queens. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your city and local time in the comment site's fun seeing where night falls first. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You crouch beside the priests. Their robes, dyed the deep brown of cocoa, brush softly against ancient stones, and their fingers are stained from years of grinding, stirring, and inhaling the sacred aroma. Among the Aztecs, chocolate is far more than a sweet treat. It's a precious gift from the gods, a bridge between everyday mortals and the powerful spirits above. Every time a priest prepares a shimmering, frothy cacao drink, he's not just brewing cocoa, he's acting as both chef and magician, priest and alchemist. There's a reason these chocolate makers are considered sacred. They're guardians of a cosmic secret, keepers of rituals older than your favorite bedtime snack. Your hands tremble, partly from the weight of mystery, partly from the gallons of caffeine you suspect are hiding in those clay mugs. Chocolate isn't a dessert here. It's currency, medicine, even a password at the gates of the afterlife. The priests twirl wooden whisk-scald molinillos between their palms, coaxing up thick brown foam, muttering prayers you can't quite catch. You can almost hear their thoughts. Don't let the gods taste burnt chocolate, whatever you do. Meanwhile, over in the big city, the ruler's palace smells like hot cocoa on steroids, and the line between chef and shaman gets blurrier by the day. There's a mainstream fact for you. Aztec cacao priests didn't just supply drinks for high lords, they made chocolate offerings in temples, believing the gods hungered for its fragrance. If you accidentally sipped some reserved for a deity, you were probably signing up for an express trip to the underworld. A quirky tidbit? Occasionally, cacao beans doubled as wedding presents imagine giving someone a bag of Hershey's Kisses instead of a toaster. As for the scholars, debate still rages. Were chocolate recipes closely guarded magic? Or were they the ancient world's equivalent of Grandma's secret cookie formula? Except, with a lot more blood and feathers? The jungle whispers all around. And as the sun sets behind those sprawling pyramids, you realize you haven't even gotten to the best part. This is only the beginning. The soft glow of the fire plays on the obsidian blades tucked into the priest's sashes. You inhale the velvety night air, pierced now and then by bird calls, and the distant drumming of someone preparing for yet another cosmic celebration. Chocolate in this world is as revered as gold, but it doesn't glitter. It seduces. The ancient Mesoamerican landscape stretching from the Gulf lowlands of present-day Mexico to the highlands of Guatemala, a lush patchwork of civilization. Here, you notice sacred ceiba trees towering above, roots like dragons sprawled across the forest floor. These forests hold more than wildlife. Hidden within their shadowy depths are the very origins of cacao. Picture it, the Theobroma cacao tree, whose name literally means food of the gods, which is where your chocolate bar's ancestry gets a major upgrade from treat to heaven's snack. You watch as a priest carefully cracks open a cacao pod with practiced hands, revealing glistening beans nestled in sticky, creamy pulp. The process looks equal parts surgical and reverential. Local rumor has it that only those chosen by the godsor possessing truly stubborn fingernails can crack open a pod without bruising the seeds. The beans are fermented, dried in the humming sunlight, and roasted over an open flame until they pop and sigh, releasing waves of bittersweet aroma into the very soul of the village. Here's your mainstream fact. The domestication of cacao in Mesoamerica stretches back at least 30 years, possibly even more. Archaeologists keep unearthing ancient ceramic vessels, still caked with traces of chocolate residue, essentially the world's oldest unwashed mug. Historians argue about exactly which civilization took that first precious sip. Was it the Olmecs, Maya, or the later Aztecs who really unlocked cacao's powers? The jury is eternally out, unlike that one annoying relative who swears their hot chocolate is just like the original. Quirky tidbit. It's thought that cacao pods evolved their vibrant yellow-orange color, not for humans but to attract monkeys, who conveniently spread the seeds, acting as the original delivery drivers for your midnight chocolate cravings. Meanwhile, back at the fireside, the priests whisper secrets to each other about when, precisely, to roast the beans, some say during eclipses, others after the first rains. You get the distinct impression that chocolate here isn't just made, it's conjured, one bean at a time. Guided by rituals so intricate, you'd need a PhD in mystical agriculture to follow along, and maybe some good rubber gloves for dealing with those rainforest ants that keep crawling up your legs. As the cacao scent grows thicker, you sense the line between everyday and otherworldly beginning to blur. The jungle grows darker, but the priest's choreographed movements seem to glow in the firelight, casting long shadows that bend and shift almost as if they're being watched by unseen spirits who, rumor says, carry scorecards for every slightly burnt batch. The night jungle thickens, sleepily wrapping you in the hush of palm fronds and the ever-present sweet curl of roasted cocoa. You settle more comfortably beside the priests if you can call sitting on a mossy log a comfort, with those stone-cold faces flickering in and out of shadow. Still, you're drawn into the magic of preparation. No two Aztec priests seem to do the ritual the same way. One grinds the fermented beans on a smooth, sloping stone called a metate, sliding them back and forth until they fuse into a shiny brown paste. Another handles a basket of chili peppers, vanilla pods, and honey, each ingredient a passport stamp from a different corner of the empire. You spot a third priest crushing vivid red annatto seeds, forever staining his palms like a warning never trust a wizard with clean hands. A mainstream fact. Aztec chocolate wasn't sweet not the way you know it. Instead, it was spicy, frothy, and often described as bitter water, or zocolotl. If you wandered in expecting milk chocolate, well, that's a rude awakening, BR. A quirky tidbit for your dreams. Sometimes, chocolate was so valuable it was mixed with ingredients like cornmeal or even ground flours, just to stretch out the precious supply. Historians say this might be the world's earliest version of the dilute your shampoo trick. Scholarly debate bubbles as unceasingly as the cacao stew. Did these exotic additions reflect deeply rooted beliefs about health and balance, or were they simply the result of rulers' taste buds running wild? You can't help but snicker as the priest with the most magnificent mustache directs the sequence with all the gravitas of a reality show host. 1 spoon of chili, a drop of honey, 2 twirls with a wooden whisk, and a dramatic pause for dramatic effect. Each move is punctuated by cautious glances skyward, toward the gods who, supposedly, are forever judging your seasoning choices. By now, your nose tingles from the pepper, your eyes water a little, but you start to feel connected a guest at the world's most exclusive and most ancient chocolate tasting session. The fire snaps, the priests chant, and you have the creeping realization that for these men, cacao isn't just nourishment. It's a cosmic act, creating a bridge between the human world and the realm of the divine, where the gods are equally likely to critique your chocolate blend or your singing voice. The flames die down to embers, yet the ceremony doesn't ease. If anything, the darkness makes every motion feel more charged, each chant thicker both with incense and meaning. You're handed a cup, the god's cup, or so the priests say. The vessel is painted in looping red lines, swirling around stylized jaguars, serpents, and outstretched hands. It's heavy, not just with thick chocolate, but with millennia of symbolism. Aztec society spins around a tangled web of rituals. Sacred ceremony especially, those involving cacao, aren't just about pleasing deities. They're about reinforcing social order. The priest intones names you almost recognize. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. Tlaloc, lord of the rains. Xochiquetzal, goddess of flowers and ritual joy. Each sip honors a cosmic player. You try not to embarrass yourself in front of the divine audience. No pressure. Mainstream fact. Cacao was believed to be a literal link between the world of the gods and mortals. Priests used chocolate in offerings, meant to ensure successful harvests, turn away drought, or stave off disease. If only modern flu shots were so delicious, although insurance probably wouldn't cover hot chocolate for divine intervention. For a weirdly specific tidbit, you spot one priest sneaking a swipe of cocoa paste under his nose, claiming it helps him smell wisdom. Scholars are still in heated debate. Were these rituals a sincere belief in the power of cacao, or were the priests solidifying their control through alluring, expensive ceremonies? You picture Congress convening over mugs of chocolate-infused wisdom and snort softly. Now, the priests pour the chocolate from one cup to another high, then low, back and forth each cascade, designed to build a perfect foam. It's mesmerizing, hypnotic. The air is alive with possibility. Is it magic or just complex chemistry? Probably both. The gods are said to delight in chocolate's frothy head, so you do your best not to wonder what happens if you spill. You probably don't want to find out. The gentle hum of night deepens as temple bells ring in the distance. You realize, to your fascination or mild terror, that you're on the edge not just of a ritual, but a transformation. The Aztec priests didn't start out as sacred chocolate makers. They earned every ounce of reverence, facing harsh trials, elaborate vows, and society's highest expectations. You learn through whispers and wide-eyed stares that only the most skilled, the most devout, and dare I say, the most caffeine-tolerant candidates are even considered for training. Before they're ordained, novices must endure months of fasting, learning the secret names of plants. And here's the tricky bit: memorize hundreds of sacred recipes. Aztec cooking class makes culinary school look like a cupcake walk. Mainstream fact. The Aztecs maintained whole schools just for priestly education, comicacs for noble children, telpacalas for commoners with selected few graduating to chocolate rituals. Imagine Hogwarts, but everyone's wand is a molinillo, and nobody's allowed to lick the bowl. Oddball tidbit. Some priests were said to wear cocoa paste as face paint during rituals, believing it brought them closer to the gods while possibly doubling as a handy snack if ceremonies ran long. Historians bicker endlessly about the deeper meaning. Was cocoa face paint meant to camouflage priests from spirits? Or simply a fancy way to show spiritual status at temple parties? Daylight hints on the horizon, and you realize the role of a chocolate priest is a calling, not just a gig. Their devotion, secrecy, and sacrifice build a reputation so potent, people doffed their feathered headdresses at the mere mention of the keeper of cacao. Dawn makes the forest glisten, lighting up dew and cocoa blossoms alike. You squint through breaks in the canopy, watching priests begin their daily rites. No lazy mornings here. Long before the markets stir or the emperor yawns, the sacred chocolate makers are up, collecting river water, inspecting their cacao stores, and praying in front of altars smeared with fresh chocolate. If you think modern chefs are competitive, imagine a lineup where losing a taste test against last year's cocoa blend could mean, well, maybe not unemployment, but definitely side-eye from the gods. Mainstream fact. The Aztec priesthood was highly hierarchical high priests, Tlenemacac, directed massive temple ceremonies, while junior priests, Tlamacasqui, handled grinding, pouring, and the daily drudge. Among them, the chocolate experts were considered especially pure since they worked with a food literally crafted by divine will. This meant extra rules. No sneaking sips, no mixing up sacred and common beans, no humming Eye of the Jaguar while whisking in front of the chief priest. Here's an oddball tidbit. Supposedly, some priests believed chocolate could grant the power of heart speech, the ability to speak new truths or even predict the future after a particularly moving cup. Try slipping that into your next performance review. It was the hot cocoa honest. Scholars still scratch their heads. Were chocolate priests more mystics or practical chemists? Did they really see visions, hear voices, or were they just monumentally sleep-deprived? You decide discretion is the better part of valor and just accept your cocoa cup. The day moves on, and as sunlight climbs the temple steps, the sacred practitioners' white cacao paste still smeared across their cheeks become living bridges between past and present, spirit and substance. With every fragrant, frothy cup they serve, the city stirs to life. You walk the bustling streets with priests, your cocoa-scented hair standing out just a little less than theirs. Markets erupt with the clatter of maize vendors and feather merchants, but it's the smell of chocolate that drifts everywhere, sometimes sharp and spiced, sometimes rich and honeyed. Always just absolutely out of reach until you've said the right blessing or paid the right price. You spot an elaborate procession weaving through the crowds. Priests, musicians, children in jaguar masks, all heading to the ceremonial plaza. At the center looms the grand temple, its steps washed in marigold petals, ready for another chocolate rite that'll decide no big deal the next season's fate. Here's your mainstream fact for the day. The Aztec capital Tenochtitlan was one of the world's largest cities in its heyday, and chocolate was everywhere. Some sources say the Emperor Montezuma drank as many as 50 golden cups of cacao daily. Imagine making that Starbucks run. Quirky tidbit. One prank-loving priest claims to have convinced a rival that chocolate foam could summon cloud spirits for better weather, only to find the rival trying to whisk his way into an early rainstorm. The scholarly debate flows sweeter than honey. Was chocolate's prevalence driven by true faith, or did its role as a status symbol also fuel its hype? Some experts argue the priests were half shaman, half marketing directorate, only because even the gods knew to demand the premium blend. As each priest pours, chants, and whisks in the open square, you see children imitate them, humming, "May the cocoa be ever in your flavor," and suddenly realize these rituals cement not just faith, but cultural identity, a rich, frothy legacy still brewing today. The midday sun beats down, lighting up temples and shimmering in the sacrificial pools. You trail behind the priests as they head, not to shade, but to a walled garden behind their Skoola chocolate laboratory, if you will. Here, plants crowd the walkways. Chili, vanilla, avocado, and, naturally, the prized cacao tree. The air thrums with bees and the low warble of distant flutes. The Aztec priests treat their cacao garden with a reverence somewhere between obsessive gardener and paranoid treasure hoarder. You watch as a novice carefully flicks bugs from tender leaves. Another hovers over cocoa flowers, whispering encouragements. You can do it. Maybe or maybe not a traditional prayer. Mainstream fact. Aztec priests were expected to be master horticulturists, able not only to recognize sacred plants, but to skillfully crossbreed and adapt them for ritual use. Quirky tidbit. It's rumored a particularly eccentric priest once tried to train hummingbirds to guard the cacao orchard. The experiment ended in chaos when the birds started chasing wedding guests for their shiny jewelry. Debate among historians rages hotter than a chili-laced cocoa. Did cacao breeding really benefit the gods? Or was it a clever way for priests to keep the empire at the cutting edge of agricultural science? Either way, you sense every sip of chocolate here isn't just flavored by ancient tradition, it's also the product of hands as green as they are devout. And maybe, just maybe, the birds are still plotting their revenge. The garden's heady scent fades as you return to the temple kitchens. Here, enormous pots bubble with each new batch, the air swirling with mystery and mild drama. Aztec priests approach chocolate making almost as a test of nerves. Too hot, and you risk burning the batch. Too cool, and the magic fizzles before the gods even sniff it. Today's challenge? The festival of Tlaloc is upon you, god of rain, thunder, and, if local gossip is to be believed, a real stickler about chocolate consistency. The priests bustle, measuring with chipped bone spoons and tossing in crushed maize for body, 0.8. Mainstream fact. Major annual festivals saw the chocolate priesthood playing starring roles preparing vats for communal consumption, elaborate temple ceremonies, and the emperor's own pregame snack. Some ceremonies lasted for days, powered entirely by ceremonial chocolate and a questionable amount of sleep. Here's a delightfully strange tidbit. On rare festival nights, priests would paint cryptic cocoa glyphs on one another's backs for luck. Sometimes these stuck around for weeks until someone's little brother licked them clean. The ultimate prank, or the beginning of an unusual tattoo trend. As bubbling chocolate and swirling tattoos converge, historians argue over how much of the ceremony was truly religious versus a uniquely sticky form of community building. You glance at the bubbling pots and realize, to perform chocolate rites is to wield power, but also to surrender to the ingredients, to fate, and maybe to whatever mischief is brewing behind those ink-stained backs. Night begins to fall again, painting the edges of ritual firelight gold and orange. You sit among the priest snow, a little less starry-eyed, a little more cocoa cotitas. A new challenge arises. Blending old magic with new, adapting sacred recipes for changing times. The empire grows, tastes, evolve, and the priesthood is forced to protect its secrets without losing its edge. Mainstream fact. By the height of Aztec civilization, chocolate rituals had fused with influences from earlier cultures Maya, Olmec, and even distant traders, which only made the sacred brew richer and more varied. Bizarre tidbit. It's whispered that one enterprising chocolate priest tried to add fermented cactus sap to his brew, hoping to wow the gods with a chocolate cocktail. The only result was a temple dog who reportedly barked in iambic pentameter for weeks afterward. Scholarly debate continues to simmer. Was the evolution of sacred chocolate a sign of adaptability, or did it show a gradual dilution of the old ways like accidentally buying dark chocolate when you meant to get milk? Either way, the keepers of cacao tread a careful line, blending tradition with innovation to ensure each offering remains worthy of the gods. You lean back and let your senses fill with smoke, chant, and the knowledge that in this world, to make chocolate is to negotiate between centurisa, little risk, a lot of trust, and just enough luck to stop the next generation from turning your legendary recipe into a trendy TikTok dance. The vibrant city quiets, markets closing, lords retreating to their feathered beds. The priests gather for one final nightly rite, balancing cups on upraised hands and slow, careful breaths. The sacred cacao has one last journey to make tonight the world of dreams, where it said even the mightiest gods bend down to taste its magic. Mainstream fact. Aztec priests sometimes gave special chocolate drinks to warriors before battle or to newlyweds, believing its divine energy brought protection and fertility. Pretty high stakes for a bedtime snack. Unusual tidbit. A legend persists of a priest who sleepwalked through an entire nocturnal ceremony, chanting, "Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate," until someone finally handed him a cup whereupon he promptly returned to sleep without spilling a drop. Debate still flickers. Did the dream rituals carry deep spiritual weight, or did the nightly chocolate habit simply help everyone unwind after a day spent dodging obsidian and arguing about chili proportions? You're left with the soft sense that, in the hands of the priests, cacao became more than a drink. It turned into a vessel for hope, a candle burning in the long, dark, a promise that even the gods might crave sweetness. You find yourself drifting in the candlelight, eyelids heavy, as the last group of priests sit cross-legged. Quiet now, save for the soft sip and slow exhale after each cup. No daily cocoa batch is the same. Some days are heavy on spice, others mellow, or even, dare you say it, flirt with a hint of vanilla. The diversity of the sacred drink reflects the endless fertility of the land, a reminder that even gods appreciate variety. Fact: it's documented that Aztec priests presided over marriages and funerals with special chocolate offerings, believing it bonded living and dead within cosmic cycles. Here's your late-night oddity. One priest reportedly once gave his chocolate to a frog, hoping to learn its rain dance. The frog hopped away unimpressed, but a surprise downpour followed, inspiring a new kitchen superstition. Historians still muse. Did the many flavors of chocolate symbolize different deities, or was it just practical chef's intuition? Either way, with every whiff of cocoa, you sense a tradition alive not just in temples, but in every sleepy hug, every whispered story, every shared coup, an unbroken thread weaving you to the past. The ritual space grows calmer. Moonbeams stretch over stone floors, catching on the last cocoa-flecked bowls being cleaned for morning. Priests brush cocoa dust from their robes, hands sticky, eyes bright from a day of sacred brewing. The youngest among them gather scraps of cacao shell, scattering them around doorways to appease mischievous spirits or maybe just to keep the temple rats happy, detail-oriented rodent fans that they are. Mainstream fact: the Aztec priesthood's influence extended far beyond religion. They managed politics, education, and controlled massive agricultural estates, all of which made cacao one of the most guarded and valuable resources. Fringe note: rumor tells of a cocoa priest with dreams so prophetic, locals lined up for a sip from his very own enchanted chocolate. Pot, though, some say. The predictions were no more reliable than the weather. Endless debate circles around: was the mythos built around chocolate a natural outgrowth of power, or did it feed on itself, with each ritual doubling down on cacao's mystical cachet? Whether spirit or strategy, you can't deny that chocolate lay at the soft, sweet heart of a civilization, and that the ghost of its sacred priesthood still lingers wherever cocoa is sipped with love. The city now cloaks itself in quiet. You feel the sacred old stones pulsing with leftover warmth, the last priests whispering bedtime prayers for rain, harvest, and peaceful dreams. Mainstream fact: Spanish records from the days of conquest noted the immense respect shown to Aztec chocolate priests. 7 rival emperors acknowledged their unique connection to the divine. A drowsy tidbit: some priests before sleep would tuck cocoa pods under their pillows for good luck, or so the legend goes. Your pillow's fillings are looking a little basic by comparison. The scholarly dispute drifts on. Did the Spanish mistakenly romanticize chocolate rituals, or were they truly struck by the sacred air enveloping the priests? Shadows shuffle, wines hum against the temple walls, and you, cocooned in the rich aroma of cacao and history, understand that for all the world's changes, the heart of the tradition beats on. Your breath deepens in time with the rhythm of temple bells as the midnight hour closes in. Priests doze, huddled together within the cocoa-scented confines of their stone sanctuary, safe for the night. You sense their dreams weaving threads of ritual, flavor, and faith into the fabric of the coming day. In these gentle hours, the power of the Aztec chocolate maker, part priest, part wizard, part gardener of dreams, seems more sacred and vital than ever. Their traditions carry on in every ritual, every shared cup, every hope-whispered scent of cacao to the waiting dawn. And through it all, You realize the true magic wasn't just in the spell-woven drinks or extravagant ceremonies. It was in the bond between people, the faith in flavor and transformation, the belief that chocolate could mend distances between mortals and gods, between sorrows and joys, between days and nights. Now the city is fully at rest. The fires are embers, soft and orange, curling lazy wisps up toward a velvet sky. The priests and their cacao trees are still, letting sweet dark scents spill into the gentle night. You close your eyes, feeling the warmth of ancient hands passing you a simple Koopa-silent invitation into the quiet mysteries of old, where every sip is a small blessing. Let the taste, the smoke, and the memory fold you into hush. No pressure or judgment, just old stories hanging like dew in the breeze. You're held, now, by the slow beating of distant temple drums, the soft exhale of jungle winds, the endless ritual of night into morning. Whatever your day's struggles, know that peace is in reach: a smile, a chocolate, a remembered ritual. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts stretch out like old roots beneath the trees of time. Tomorrow will come, but tonight, let dreams be sweet. And let the secrets of sacred priests and their favorite brew guard your rest. The story continues wherever chocolate is cherished, and tonight, you are part of its gentle magic. End of story. Have a sweet dreams.